What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice & Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the Moor Visitors expansion for Viticulture, published by Stonemaier Games, designed by Uwe Rosenberg, Jamey Stegmaier, and Alan Stone. Now I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who will tell you more about the game itself.
So this is an expansion for the competitive game that is for 1 to 6 players for ages 14 and above and plays at about 45 to 90 minutes. We'd also like to say that this is a review copy, so we'd like to thank Stonemaier Games for sending that over to us and for thinking of us. Always happy to have these games to take a look at, but we'd like to remind everybody that our opinions will remain our own.
All right, so you should know about viticulture. If you are watching this video, I will not be explaining it. I'll give you a brief overview. You're building up a vineyard, and you're trying to score the most points by planting vines, using some visitors that come to help out, and then filling wine orders in order to get to the end game and have the most points by the end of the game. You also have this residuals track here where you'll be getting some nice returns on your wines. And the really neat thing about this, which we'll be doing in just a moment off camera, is there's a change in the Essential Edition. You draw a Mama and a Papa card, basically the family that's running the vineyard, and everyone is going to get a little bit of a different starting setup. Now, the Moor Visitors adds a new type of, well, not a new type, it adds more visitors to the winter and summer visitor stack. They definitely, at least from what we've seen, taking a look at some of the cards and from some of our plays, are a little bit more complex than what is in just the core box. So you're going to be able to use them to pull off some new strategies, even some stuff that is technically against the rules, in order to be the best wine maker and run the best vineyard. I think I talked enough about the game, Julie, and the expansion.
I think it's time to grab our drinks. Too bad it's not wine.
Too bad it's not wine. And our fellow winemaker.
I'm going to take it to the table one more time.
One more time. Who's going to win?
I'm going to make some bubbles. I'm going to win.
You usually win this game. Now we're going to take a look at the Moor Visitors expansion, the components for Viticulture. As this is a very small box expansion, I thought it'd be a little bit more fun to do it like an unboxing. So let's just take a look and see what we got for our visitors. Now, for our review, Julia and I have been definitely focusing on making sure that these guys come up. So you have some guys like the Fusil Maker. Each player may gain a red or white on their crushpad, red or white grape. If at least one opponent does this, gain 2 victory points. So pretty cool stuff. Draw 3 cards and either one of the 3 order cards and fill 1 or keep 2, discard the rest. Councilman, draw 1 and play 1. Gain 7 gold or 2 victory points at the end of the game if you don't have at least 1 condition. It's been a little while since we played Viticulture, not that much, so just symbols I'm not as familiar with. To at least 5 grapes, gain 2 victory points or pay 3 to add a 5 grape to your crush pad. So these are pretty cool. I like the way that these visitors have a little bit more utility. If you have a windmill, gain a level 3 grape, otherwise pay 2 to build a windmill. Draw 4 cards or gain 2 victory points at the end of the game. So definitely some cool stuff. I like what we're seeing here when it comes to these visitors. And definitely feels like they're changing the gameplay a bit. Build an irrigation for free or plant 1 vine that requires an irrigation to gain 1 victory point. That feels like they're giving you a few more utility options as well as just influencing directly sort of the production of your wines. So there are the summer visitors. Let's take a look at the winter ones. Retrieve 2 workers from previous seasons. You may use them again this year. Yeah, well, that's just amazing. Age 1 wine up to 3 times or pay 2 to upgrade your cellar. You may use 1 victory point to do both. That's really powerful too. Harvest X fields and age X grapes once each. Discard 1 grape to gain either 4 gold or equal to its value or victory points equal to its sale price. Pay 9 to gain a 7 cost wine in your cellar, even if you don't have a large cellar. So these ways to just really break the system and use some more stuff. Plant 1 vine or reduce the value of a 3 cost wine by 1 each. Of 3 wines by 1 each to gain 2 victory points. Pay 9 to gain a red and a white, put in your cellar. So this is really cool stuff. I liking what we're seeing from these visitors, really the way that they're changing up and allowing you to go more directly after victory points, but also with some hard and interesting decision choices. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. That would take forever. Just want to give you an idea as to what you've got in terms of components. So there you have it. Now keep it right here as Julie and I will be coming back at you with our review of the expansion. So Julie, what did you think of the Moor Visitors expansion for viticulture?
Well, the cards definitely add a new complexity and a new spin to this, because you can't ignore the fact that there are some cards that are pretty powerful and they could change the game, as we learned in our playthroughs.
Well, one of the cards I actually got rid of because you built a whole bunch of structures and it let you build a structure at a 5 lira discount.
Yes.
And it would go back and forth because it's going around the table. So in a 2-player game, it's not like I build one, you build one, other people build one. It'd been like going back and forth between the two of us. I was like, if I keep doing this, she's just going to build this massive thing and be way ahead of me. So I had to get rid of it. Now, because we're just focusing on the new visitors, as you can see with this little box, there is some new content, but not a ton of content. And we discussed off camera, it doesn't really... It's not worth rating this box, but we are going to tell you whether we think this is something you should pick up and who should definitely be looking at picking up this expansion based on your experience with the game.
So, no rating, but I would say that if you have been playing viticulture for a while and have enjoyed it, this is definitely something you would want to look at to consider. It definitely adds a nice spin to it and a new complexity. As I said, the cards are much more powerful than the visitors that were there before.
At least they feel more powerful. I think that they're more powerful is in terms of how you chain different things together and their effects. But I do think that if you aren't very familiar with the game, it could be fairly challenging to use them to the best of your ability.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if you're new picking up viticulture, if you've just started playing it, get some plays of the game. You don't need it right away. I think this is something that you'd want to add. I don't think it's a must-have, but I definitely think it's a very nice to have.
Well, like you've got the card that let you build a whole bunch of structures, and I was like, why is she like burning, like trying to get all this lira? The next thing I know, you've got like a whole fully working vineyard, and I'm lagging way behind there and doing my best to catch up. And I had some good stuff that gave me a lot of cool things, but it was still very difficult to catch up to at that point.
Yeah, and I had a couple of at some point I had more cards than I knew what to do with, and I was like, I want to play this and I want to play that. I had some cards that would have allowed me to get some wines without even upgrading my cellar. So those were pretty cool too. But I think one of the strongest ones was the one that allowed me to convert grapes directly into residuals. Was it grapes or was it wine?
Well, you had one that converted into residuals, and you had the other one that converted to victory points, or lira, which was very powerful. And I mean, you convert one grape. So if you get a 9 grape, you convert into 9 victory points. That can essentially have you almost jumping all the way up the track, or significantly outpacing someone who'll be like, oh, it's endgame, and you're like, oh, wait, what? I jumped over you. So there's a lot of really cool strategies like that you can do with these cards. And the fact that you can only hold 7 cards does make it very challenging. I mean, because we're reviewing the visitors, we specifically got cottages just to cycle through, see what you can do, and get the opportunity to play more. And that really changed up our strategy. I don't think it was necessarily the best strategy to build the cottages first. There's a few things that we probably could have done otherwise, but we want to review this content, so that's what we did. And I really like the new visitors. I like that level of complexity. I like the fact that they have, like, not game-breaking effects, but the fact that they really go around the mechanics to let you do some cool stuff. So you could be, like, behind, you could be like, boom, or, I'm not getting the red wine I need, and I'm like, oh, what up? I've got a grape thief. I'm taking your best grapes. And you also went and blocked me from doing what I need to do. Yeah, well, I'm going over there and doing that. So it was definitely pretty cool, and I really enjoyed having this extra content to the game.
Yep.
And I think that summarizes it. So let's give our actual, just final rating summary clear. I think that if you are new to viticulture, you don't need it. I think if you played a lot of viticulture, you should definitely pick this up. It's got the right price, and it's going to give you, a good value and refresh the game, especially if it's getting old.
And I'm just going to say ditto. And on that note, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some more new content for you.
And take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see pictures of Julie and I playing Viticulture or Viticulture with the Moor Visitors expansion, there'll be plenty on our feed. Also down there is a link to multizone.ca, a great Canadian game store. I said crate, I meant to say great. Click that link, you'll get 10% off your next purchase. It's a great way to support the channel. A portion of that purchase is returned to us. And then popping up in front of us will be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be our most recent release, and in front of Julie will be our review of Viticulture. And on that note, we are now going to grab our drink, grab our fellow winemaker,
and we're going to keep playing games.
And we're going to keep playing this one, especially with the cooperative expansion coming. I'm eager to see how that's going to work.
That is going to be right up our alley.